I'm very pleased to be joined on the line right now by the General Manager for Team Canada West for the upcoming World Junior A Challenge. We've got Rylan Ferster here with us. First off, Rylan, thanks so much for taking the time to join us here today.
My pleasure, Brian.
So the team was announced earlier this week, the fact that we're looking at a number of players from the BC Hockey League. Maybe first off, give us the overall impression of this team. Is it the best team, or is it the team of best players?
Geez, that's a good question. It's tough pretty early here. Well, hopefully we've got a little mix of both. We feel we've got a real good team. I think the one thing that really sticks out in my mind this year as opposed to the last couple of years is we have 7 veterans, Brian, on the team this year. So, I mean, for us, that was huge. And the guys coming back were really guys that were, played some key roles for us. Again, they weren't, maybe the high-end guys, i.e. the Kellen and Connor Jones and Cody Kunitz, but, the Brendan O'Donnells and the Grayson Downings and, guys like that, the Clark Bright Cruises who played for us last year. Boy, they were the reason why we had the success we did last year.
Now, a lot of people will look at this team and think this looks like a big-time all-star team. You've got 5 players right now that are either leading their team in scoring or at least are the co-leaders in scoring. Was that something that was purposeful, or, again, were you looking at just building the best team you've got?
Yeah, I don't think, again, we looked at guys who were the top scorers. Obviously, you're going to have to score goals to win, but that's one stat that probably was down near the bottom, looking at guys who were top scorers of their teams. I mean, kind of the first criteria we want guys who are going to be 200-foot players, and we want guys who are going to be complete players, and we want guys who are going to be team players. And I know those all sort of mesh together, but being a 200-foot player is really key. And I just go back to last year so much when you have guys like Connor and Kellen Jones who, are complete 200-foot players. I mean, that's why we had the success we did. And I know we didn't get a gold medal, but I mean, we were extremely close, and we were picked to finish 4th last year. So, it's still a sour taste in our mouth, of course, a very sour taste in mine, but, there's the odd day that you kind of take a little bit of comfort, being picked to finish 4th and, finishing in 2nd.
Now, with those 7 guys that are coming back, is that sort of where you look at that? They've got a chip on their shoulder knowing that that you came up short in the gold medal game last year?
Well, we certainly hope so. I mean, I certainly have one on my shoulder, and I know Coach Wintoniak does. He was there last year as my assistant, and Coach Cruz, he was an assistant last year, and obviously Leonard Strandberg was part of it. And I mean, we're well aware in this country it's gold or nothing. I mean, and I always say that you never win a silver medal. So, it's
you lose the gold, right?
Exactly. You don't win the silver, you lose the gold. So, I think we all do have a bit of a sour taste in our mouth.
Now, one thing that really stands out when you look at the roster is the fact that of the 7 defensemen that you've got on this team, 4 of them come from the Camrose Kodiaks. Yeah,
we looked at those guys, and I think that came into play a bit too when we were looking and we were thinking, geez, we got 4 guys from the Kodiaks here, but, those guys all showed very, very well at camp, Brian, and, they're all very worthy of being there. Again, you look at Ben Gallagher, a veteran from last year and a 4th-round draft pick. Volkenfort had a very, very good camp. Sam Jardine is a very, high-end offensive guy, and Nolan Kaiser is a complete two-way player there, is going to kill penalties and play in the power play both for us. So, I mean, those guys all had good camps, and, they play together, and they also come from an outstanding program as well.
Now, how about 8 players from the BC Hockey League? That's the most representation of any of the Junior A leagues on this team. I know that that's certainly not something that you do on purpose, but do you think it's a feather in the cap of the BCHL?
I think it is. I mean, we have a great league out here. This league is, one of the best in North America, and obviously to have a great league like this, you have to have great players, and I think it is a feather, in the cap. It's certainly not by design. It's just, the way it kind of works.
Well, and how about the inclusion of Mark McMillan? Some people will look at that as a bit of a question mark, not taking anything away from what Mark McMillan can do on the ice, but the fact that he's missed a significant amount of time this season with an injury.
Well, I had an opportunity to see Mark in preseason, and, I was over in Trail at the preseason camp they had, and, to watch Mark, the way he played in that preseason tournament was outstanding. I watched a guy who, had his scholarship, yes, and had already been drafted, and, I guess you can look at it kind of two ways, but here was a guy who was playing hard every single shift. And again, I go back to that complete 200-foot player. I mean, it's preseason and he's a veteran, and I guess you can look at it two ways. Well, he has nothing to play for, or maybe he should be showing the younger guys. I don't know, but I just seen a guy who played extremely hard. So, and obviously, he's a high-end offensive guy. So, I mean, I don't think we had too much trouble picking him.
Do you think with some of the players that you do have, especially up front, that it's like any team that represents Canada, you're going to have some players that maybe on their club teams are a highly offensive type of guy, play every situation, power play and penalty kill, and they may end up playing a third, fourth line role for this club?
Absolutely, it's going to be that way. And I mean, we kind of set that tone, when the guys come to the evaluation camp and phone in interviews that we do with guys. I mean, you have to come there and buy in, and that's really, that's our job, for the most part, to make these guys buy in. And, over the last couple of years, that I've been involved, really haven't had a problem with that, because, once you kind of put that jersey on, I mean, you're playing for your country, and I mean, I don't think anyone's going to remember 10 or 15 years from now how many shifts you got. It'll just be, did you get gold or silver?
And you've got an interesting mix in goal, too, with a 91-born player and a 93-born player. Fans in BC may not know a lot about these guys because they play in leagues further east. How about, first off, with Jamison Shortreed playing for Fort Francis in the SIJHL?
Yeah, well, Jamison came to the camp, and, we had 4 goalies at camp, and, we had Jamison ranked very high, so he's very worthy of being there. A bigger guy who, blocks pucks and really, really battles. Like that's the one thing that we really liked about him at camp, is just his ability to battle through traffic or for loose pucks. And, and actually he had been sick at camp too, so but again, we thought he was probably, coming out of that camp ranked number 1. And then, Matt Cron plays for OCN, and obviously Jomar Cruz is a coach with OCN, and he probably would have been at camp, but he was still in the Western League at that time. So, he's not a guy that's just kind of popped up on the radar. He was on our list, and we knew a lot about him. And again, we have a lot of faith in Jomar Cruz. Not only does Jomar coach him, Jomar is a goalie himself, and he's been at the tournament last year, and obviously will be this year. So, we put our trust in Jomar too.
And what do you know about the other teams? Obviously, you've got Switzerland and Russia in your pool. And, I mean, obviously you know a lot about Canada East because those are junior A players as well in Canada, but Sweden and the U.S. over there.
Well, I mean, certainly got to know a little bit about the Swedes last year. They were in our pool, and I thought they played more of a North American type style. In fact, I really, really liked them. They went 0-2, and again, there's such a fine line in this tournament. I mean, they played very well against us, and I thought they could have easily been 2-0. Obviously, the U.S. is, is good every year. They're 4 lines deep and 6 defensemen strong and 2 goalies strong. Switzerland will be probably a real skilled team from kind of what I'm hearing. And there'll be some of those guys who will be at the other World Juniors too. So we're expecting a very good team there. And Russia is Russia every year. I mean, it hasn't changed the last couple of years. I mean, there's animosity between Canada and Russia, of course, and had a couple heated battles with them already. It's surprising, though, the size that some of the European teams have, i.e. Russia and Belarus, over the last couple of years too. So Russia is skilled, but they also play real hard. So it's a great tournament.
All right, Rylan, I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us about the World Junior A Challenge, and we may talk again before the tournament gets going, but if we don't, good luck with Canada West.
Certainly.